there, everyone. Welcome back to Dream Drop Long Distance, a podcast with two best buds currently bridging a 3,000-mile gap with the game series Kingdom Hearts. My name's Mitchell Orsino, and as always, my co-host is Kyle Bradshaw. What's up, Kyle?
Hey, man, it's been a long time. Like, people at home don't know this, but we don't actually record on a weekly basis. It's been hit or miss, and
no, I mean luckily. So for anybody listening at home, Kyle and I, this is not something that we are able to live off of currently. If you want to donate, please do. It would be...
Crap, now we have to sign up for a coffee account before we aired that first episode. God dang it, Mitchell, how could you do this?
Yeah, buddy. Or if somebody wants to sponsor, wink, wink, Square Enix, wink, wink, we can do this more often. But in the moment, we have day jobs. So... Kyle and I have been, playing as we can, recording as both of our schedules line up. Yeah, Kyle, I was very reluctant to start the next game that we are jumping into.
To be fair, the game that we're going to be playing is not exactly well regarded by the community. There are a lot of people who just do not like it. They do not like the playstyle, and they simply skip it. Like, even I skipped this game the last time I did a playthrough of the series.
Really? I didn't know that.
Yeah, I played it for about, 20 minutes, and then I was like, this ain't fun. And I just moved on.
Huh. So it's so funny, because anybody, again, listening, one part of this podcast that Kyle and I really wanted to do was not only to play through these games with each other, but to also try to remember how we felt about the games when we were kids and compare it to now. And I don't know, I thought I remembered you telling me you really enjoyed this game, and it kind of always worried me that at some point we were going to play this game and I was going to be like, I just don't want to be dogging Kyle's favorite Kingdom Hearts game.
I think it has to do with the platform, because originally this game was not in the format that we were playing it, which we will get into briefly. Are you ready for me to take us in?
Yeah.
I've been working on a little something to put us in the mindset. So,
ooh, dirty little tease.
The year is 2004. Green Day's American Idiot is sweeping the nation, or at the very least, rocking my socks off.
I love this already.
2 years prior, we played a PlayStation game with a serious story and silly Disney characters, which forever changed the direction of our lives. It's Christmas morning, and for you under the tree is a familiarly shaped cuboid that you recognize as a new video game. Shearing through the wrapping paper, you're greeted with the incredible cover artwork for Kingdom Hearts Chain of Memories. That's right. Earlier that month, your favorite game for PlayStation 2 got its first sequel, but this time, it's for the Game Boy Advance. Kingdom Hearts Chain of Memories was released in the United States on December 7th, 2004, and was developed by Jupiter in partnership with Square Enix. Jupiter is a Japanese game studio responsible for popular games like Pokemon Pinball and the Picross series. They also partnered again with Square Enix to create 2008's The World Ends With You. As much as our childhood selves enjoyed the original sprite work of the Game Boy Advance version of the game, today we're playing a remastered version of the game called Kingdom Hearts Re-Chain of Memories. This 3D title for the PlayStation 2 was originally included as a bonus disc with Kingdom Hearts 2 Final Mix in Japan, but it also got a separate US release in 2008. So Mitchell, does any of that line up with your past experience with this game?
I'm sorry, real quick, I have to pause. That was fantastic. And just kudos, because I don't think I could have written that if I tried. That was awesome. Oh, that was really good. That was an amazing way to bring us into this.
Thank you. I'd like to be prepared for future games.
I love that idea. I think that was really, really good.
So, Mitchell, I wrote this from my perspective of what I was doing in 2004 and when I got my copy of this game. Does any of that line up with your experience as a kid?
Oh, not at all.
Okay.
I'm trying to think. Okay, so I got a hold of this game. So it's so funny where you say you got the game on the Game Boy Advance. I got the game on PlayStation 2. And it's so funny. I actually think I still have the PlayStation 2 copy with me. Like, I've carried it around. And because I remember I never was able to get a hold of the Game Boy Advance copy. And I remember I was like, my parents, like, we're not going to buy it right now. And also, I don't think I got a Game Boy Advance till way later in its life cycle. But then a friend of mine, he was like, oh, I just played Kingdom Hearts 2, the second one that just came out. I said, on the Game Boy? And he said, no, on PlayStation. I told him, I said, it's not on PlayStation, it's a Game Boy game. He goes, no, there is a PlayStation game. And we argued for about 5 minutes, and he was like, when we get back to my house, I will show you. And that was when I found out that they released it for PlayStation 2, completely to my surprise. So at this point, you and I have already played Kingdom Hearts 2, and I was like, how long have you had this copy? He was like, oh, not very long. And then, we looked into it, and apparently it released on PlayStation 2 after Kingdom Hearts 2, which I thought was always weird. But I was like, oh, shit, I'll go back and play Chain of Memories finally. And I'll ask you, because I know you've beaten it before. Like, your first playthrough on just any part of this game, did you complete it? Did you finish the game?
Yeah, absolutely. I didn't beat the final boss myself because I was bad at the game, because I was a child. I was literally 11. So, I was very bad at the game, and somebody else beat the final boss for me. But otherwise, yeah, I played and beat this game. Yeah.
Very funny. Well, I will be completely honest. I probably got to the very first encounter fight in this game on PlayStation 2. And the moment I realized what the play style was, I turned the game off and never touched it again and never looked back.
And you still have your friend's copy, right?
Hopefully they don't hear this, but I do. It was never brought up after that, and I technically didn't steal it. It's been a long rental.
That's how friendship worked back in those days. Like, if you let somebody borrow a game, you would never see it again.
Dude, it's true. I could probably name 2 or 3 games that I've let friends borrow in the past, and then I've gone over to see friends after college, and they were like, oh, dude, I still have, like, your copy of Halo 2 that you lent me that one weekend. And I'm like, well, I want that back, first of all.
Yeah, no kidding. Oh, man.
But yeah, I mean, it just was. It was a time where people were interested in sharing the experience with people, especially after you had beat a game. You're like, well, I'm probably never going to go back to this. So I prefer to have, like, somebody else to have the same experience.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So, well, with that aside, this game is interesting in the way that it picks up directly after the ending, the post-credits ending of Kingdom Hearts 1, where you're out in this big green field on a straight path, following after Pluto. Before they even show that, they give you literally a recap of the entire Kingdom Hearts 1 storyline to the tune of Simple and Clean. Which, I mean, whatever. It was a low-budget game. Or low-ish budget game, so I'm sure they just... There's no sense in paying Utada for a whole new song.
No, not at all.
But they played that all over again. You're running down the pathway through the field, and it cuts to nighttime, and it shows that they've been running down this road for basically the entire day. And they decide to take a rest for the night. And what happens there, Mitchell?
They're greeted by one of the hooded figures. Obviously somebody who has been, like, kind of leading him in a direction this entire time.
So yeah, it is one of the hooded guys, and it doesn't seem to be the same guy as the Unknown, the big bad boss that we fought at the end of Kingdom Hearts. And it doesn't seem to be Ansem. or the guy from Destiny Islands. This is somebody else entirely. So we got a new character being introduced, and he tells you that in order to claim what they're looking for, you have to lose something that's dear to you.
The line I had down is he says, along the road ahead is something you need, but you must lose something dear to you to get it.
So you go down the path that he leads you down, essentially, and it cuts to a scene of a girl drawing a picture of a castle, and then it transitions back to reveal that the place that you are arriving is the castle that she's drawing the picture of, which is an interesting little thing that they're doing there. They're definitely establishing that something else is going on, and that this person is not necessarily with the robed figures, because she is not robed. Exactly.
And I won't lie, at first I thought, I was like, is she drawing Hollow Bastion? And then I realized, it's like, oh, no, this is a different place. And then, but yeah, I had it written down as she was drawing what I at the time called Nightmare Castle.
Basically, yeah, may as well be.
And so Goofy, Donald, and Sora show up to the castle. They realize that for some reason in their heads, they have the same idea that what they want is there. They don't know why all of a sudden, but they're just like, oh, it's got to be in there. Like, for sure it has to be in there, which they're like, but you've never been here. How do you know?
Yeah.
And so they go in, which is trippy in itself, because it's like, that's the first time in this game you realize they're like, are these guys being manipulated in some way? It's a hint at what is to come further in the game.
And as soon as you get in, there's a spoken cutscene now. Donald and Goofy do not sound right in this game. They do not sound like they did in Kingdom Hearts 1, and neither does Sora.
They switched voice actors. That's the voice from that plays him in Kingdom Hearts 2.
No, it's the same guy. It's been him the whole time. Haley Joel Osment. He just got older. He was 14 and now he's 16.
Was Haley Joel Osment Kingdom Hearts 1 as well?
Yeah, that was him in Kingdom Hearts. In the first one.
Wow. I did not realize I thought he didn't start voicing him until Kingdom Hearts 2. Huh. Never mind.
Nope. It's just because he aged and his voice changed. It's been the same guy the whole time.
That's so crazy. Yeah, that's really funny. But I guess there is enough of a gap in the games that it would have happened like that.
Yeah, because I mean, he was 14, I think it was, in 2002 when Kingdom Hearts actually came out, and now 2004, so now he's 16.
Yeah, I mean, that is about right. Okay, cool. But yeah, no, their voices definitely did change a little bit. One note that I had, so, the guys are sitting there talking, trying to figure things out. Goofy goes, hey, should we shut the door behind us? And immediately they're greeted by one of the hooded figures. And my note was, Goofy was right. We should have shut the damn door.
I love it.
I was just like, damn it.
I think my favorite part right there is that Donald's first thing is to just immediately try and just zap this dude with his magic. And he cannot. And it's just adorable to watch him and try and get the guy, and nothing happens.
Yeah, the note I had down for that was Donald has magic ED. And I was just like, he's like, why isn't it working? And this hooded figure is basically telling them, like, in Castle Oblivion, to gain is to lose is to gain, giving them all that spiel, and they're trying to figure out what's going on. And then he disappears, and they're like, well, I guess we kind of just keep going. But he also, there is a fight that happens right there. And then Sora realizes that Donald and Goofy are not actually with him. He brings them into Traverse Town. That's honestly, I think that's the first time you're introduced to the card-based battle system.
Yes. Yep. And that's the whole point. He's taking this moment to show you how to fight with the cards and show you that Donald and Goofy are with you, but not in the way that you expect.
Do you want to describe to the people at home listening what the new mechanic for this game is?
So, yes. Here is my warning to you. It's confusing and they don't tell you everything. So you have cards, and these cards are numbered 0 to 9. The number that's shown isn't anything to do with damage, to the best of my knowledge anyway. It has everything to do with whether one card is stronger than another. So let's say an enemy plays a card number 6. You can't play any card lower than that because it'll just get broken. But if you play 7 or higher, you break their card and cancel their attack and attack them instead. But it's not turn-based like you would want or expect from a card game. It's real time. So basically, to get out of an incoming attack, you can either use a card to break it and cancel it out, or you can dodge it the old-fashioned way like you would in an action game. And then you can take cards together. You can like stack together 3 cards to make a sleight and use that against them to have an even higher number. Like if you combine, 3 number 5 cards, it becomes 15 and is way higher. And
Yeah, I mean, they also then institute a lot of because I mean it's all the normal things, spells, attacks, but everything is card based. And so you might, for instance, you're running low on health, you play a card that will heal you, and that might have a number 3 on it. And right as you're going to heal, an enemy can play a number 4 card and it completely nullifies your healing ability. And then the only way you can heal again is to burn all the cards in your hand to try to get more.
Okay. No, not quite. Okay. I feel like I need to teach. I feel like I need to teach you something here now, man.
Go ahead.
You don't have to burn through all the cards to actually refresh your deck.
Well, unless you have like a
No, not even with a potion. Like you don't even need the potion. You can just tab over to that card, that blank card. You can just tab over to that and charge up, just like you would if you were empty.
Oh shit! See, I did not know that. That is new to me. Because I normally have just been like, I'll even skip the heal and just attack a bit more until I run out of cards and reload.
And the other thing is that you can guarantee yourself that heal, or relatively guarantee yourself that heal by using a sleight with like you put 2 attacks
and a heal on the back end. Yeah, I've definitely picked all that kind of stuff up. Like if I for sure want an ability to land, I'll throw it into a sleight with like a high number attack card, so I'm not worried about anybody breaking it. And I will say, at first it really was like, I put the game down a couple times at the very beginning because I was just like, this is just not my play style. I just was not digging it. And then when I finally like forced myself and I looked up a couple of people's ideas, I'm like, well, do this as like a beginner, start there. And then I talked to you about a way to like start building out your deck. You have to really find a groove in your play style for this game. It's not like, oh, I'm a magic user. Oh, I'm an attack user. At least like in the original Kingdom Hearts. I find you can be very creative with how you want to play it, but there is a lot that can happen in this one. So I find it really challenging. It just takes a while to get used to.
Yeah, but it doesn't help that there are also things that can just go wrong that aren't your fault because It's just so different from the original game. Like, I'm used to the Blizzard spell that I point myself in a direction, I cast Blizzard, and it fires in that direction.
I already know exactly what you're thinking.
But that's not how it works here.
Yep.
It's not how it works here. It's whoever Sora happens to be targeting at that particular moment. That is the direction that the Blizzard goes. And I cannot tell you how many times, I mean, at least 1 in 3 times that I cast Blizzard, it goes the opposite direction of where I'm trying to go. Probably doesn't even hit who it thinks I was aiming at, and misses the big crowd of people that I was trying to hit with Blizzaga.
I have honestly completely taken Blizzard out of my deck, mainly because once I got into about World 3, I started realizing that Blizzard, unless you jump in the air, will not hit aerial enemies. Like, it goes directly under them.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, you have to be pretty far back. You have to be really far back for it to hit them, because it's kind of like a shotgun blast, yeah.
But it drove me insane. Like, the amount of times I would be trying to shoot a gargoyle, or, things we'll get into. Or even just the lantern. I can't even remember their names. But as they're flying around, I just never hit them, because they would be 2 feet above me, and he would just shoot it directly across. And I'm just like, dude, you're looking at them. Just hit them. So I actually don't even run Blizzard anymore. I felt like it was such a waste of card points.
That's interesting, because I have kept running it. Like, despite all of that, I still keep running Blizzard. I am more careful with it now. So like one of the things that you can do in this that we're going to learn here in a bit, or we could just get into it now really, is that you can encounter Heartless in each room, but it's like they're stand-ins.
Yes.
So you can just like whack one. You can attempt to whack one. And if you whack one ahead of time, kind of like Persona, actually, if you can hit them ahead of time, then you get advantage in the fight. Or if they hit you, they get advantage in the fight. Or if you just kind of bump into each other, no attack, it's kind of neutral.
Yeah.
But if you can attack them first, then they get stunned for a minute. So what'll happen is I'll do everything that I can to try and stun a Heartless that I see coming. And then while they're stunned, I'll run to the corner of the map and I'll just blast them from over there, because usually the shotgun spread will hit everybody from there.
Gotcha. See, this actually is one thing I enjoy a lot. So the maps in this game are very room-based. You walk through one door, go to another room. But each room every door that you go to open requires a particular either number card or type of card it's a cost. It's a cost-based system. And as you're playing, you're collecting cards that have different number values and different attributes assigned to them. So say the next room, it's like this room requires a red card that is a value of, 5 or more. You use that, you go through. But each one of those cards might have an associated ability like, if you use this card to open a door, the next room is only a save point. And things like that. So it really, in that way, it's very cool, because this game is allowing you to kind of build save points, but also invest in what you really are like. Do you want the next room to be very highly combat, so you can try to grind a bit more? Or the next room, do you want it to be where you can try to get more items quickly and do a little farming? And that's probably my favorite part of this game so far, is the way that they've designed. And it's much more traditional JRPG, especially with I find the enemies, like you said, because you can stun them. There are some items that you can actually hit them and it'll confuse them. And when the fight starts, they kind of have these question marks over their head and they're running around acting like they don't know what the hell they're doing. That allows you to get in a couple of pot shots. And so things like that. And I agree. I like it. I usually will run 3. So one of the summons you'll wind up getting is one of the traditional summons, which is Simba from Lion King. And I'll usually stack 3 Simbas. And then when they're stunned, I'll walk in the middle of them and hit them with a full blast summon attack. And that usually, it knocks out most of the small stuff while also bringing the first wave of big enemies down to about half health.
Yeah. I've been doing that same kind of thing too. It's cheap and I love it.
It's great. I mean, it sets you up. It puts you in a good position for the rest of the battle, at least.
Yeah. So one of the things, a small nitpick that I want to bring up, that I don't know if you've run into this problem as much as I'm running into this problem, but so after every combat, you get one of those map cards, like you were saying, a door card, a room card, whatever you want to call it, right?
Mm-hmm.
After every single battle, you get one of those, and you use one every single time you open a door. But for as much variety of them, and for as many of them as they give you,
are you going to talk about the card
limit? Is a hard limit of 99. You can only hold 99 of those cards. So you are now, in addition to everything else that you're doing, you're having to clean out your inventory every so often, every couple hours, let's say, to just like, oh, okay, well, I mean, I guess I don't need 12 of these, because when am I really going to use that? Or it's like, oh, well, I mean, I guess I may as well just open a couple extra Moogle rooms, which is a whole thing we'll get into in a minute. It's crazy that they put a limit like that. I mean, I can only guess that it was a technical limitation of the PlayStation 2. Like, there's only so much you can squeeze into a memory card. But man,
I guess I do agree, because the first time I got a notification that said something about like, you've reached your limit on map cards, blah, blah, blah. I accidentally clicked through it and didn't get to read it. And I was like, what was that warning? And then the next round, that next fight that I did, it said it again. And I read it and I was like, and I went and looked and I didn't get the map card for that round. And I was like, oh, you got to be kidding me. And so, yeah, I'm not, that was a very big surprise to me that they put a hard 99 card limit, especially because like later levels, some of those doors are like use 2 red cards and like a value of like 30 plus the door. So I'm like, you're burning through some pretty high number cards that you don't always get back very easily. And so it's like, I don't want to throw away other stuff on the off chance that I'm not going to be able to, because I've looked into it, because I was worried about like, man, what happens if you don't have what you need to get to a door? And I mean, the consensus online is just, yeah, you just are stuck until you can grind and get a card that can get you out of there, which is insane to me.
Oh no.
So it really is at some point, like you can put yourself in a position where you can't change any of the doors to anything that would be beneficial. And then you could just be sitting there for hours trying to get a card to get you further along in the game.
Yeah, so I've been having to like actually think about it too when I'm using cards and when I'm getting rid of cards when I hit 99. Like I have to stop, think about it, be like, okay, I probably don't need this many reds. I probably don't need this many greens. I don't need this many of the same number. And I mean, at least they give you a grid too, I think, that shows like, 0 through 9, 0 through 9, 0 through 9 of each color so that you could, Mitchell, this system, it's too many cards, Mitchell.
I know. And it's a lot of different variety. It's a lot of different variety. And anybody listening, the only reason we were dogging these very detailed little particular things so much is because we love the series, and we're gonna point out some of what we find is inefficient and most of the things that we love. But this was just one of the bits that we're just kind of like, guys, I feel even at the PS2 level, I don't know if putting a cap on card limit was the best move. But whatever, we're through it. But we do in the game wind up after that fight, we get to Traverse Town.
Oh yeah. Boy, that was a long diversion, but we really had a lot of thoughts to share about that. We didn't even get through every single aspect of the card systems, but we will get there one day.
I mean, we'll wind up talking about it as we play, but I mean, it is good to describe to the listeners how this game plays, because it's not like a traditional beat 'em up kind of, you have a sword, kill the Heartless. This game does have a lot more technical. I find you really do kind of have to think on the fly while you're fighting and adjust to, because you don't know what kind of cards most of these enemies have. So you're having to kind of just come up with strategies on the fly.
Yeah, I will give them full credit for trying something different. I will give them credit for landing on a system that is almost good.
Almost. There
are a lot of things that we could nitpick. Like if we wanted to, or somebody wanted to, they could go in mod this game, because I think it's even it might be on PC now through one of the collections. Somebody could mod this game and turn it into something that is genuinely like, this is just good. Like it just needs tweaks.
Little tweaks. They're little things, but in a sense of a game, totally playable. The story is interesting, worth your time. If you're willing to give a new type of gameplay a shot.
Yeah, exactly. But anyway, as you were saying, we jump into Traverse Town, the full Traverse Town, and despite everything that the hooded figure told Sora refuses to understand that this is not the real Traverse Town. He believes fully that he is actually in Traverse Town inside of this castle, and that this is not a world created from his memories.
Yeah. And then I think right after that is when he realizes that Donald and Goofy are back with him physically. That was like something he was just like, oh no, this is a real place. But again, he also is greeted by Leon, and Leon doesn't recognize him. And Sora's like, what are you talking about? Like, you know me. We're friends. And he's like, I don't know who you are, Sora. And then, of course, the gang's like, you just called him Sora. He's like, wait, did I? He's like, but I don't know you. How do I know your name? Then I think it was in order, I believe Yuffie came up after him, and it was kind of the same thing. And then Tifa did the same thing, where all these characters, they know Sora's name, but they've never actually, but in this reality, they've never met him. So they don't know why they know his name. And they don't know why they know these people. So now they're having to kind of like piece that together, which I thought was really interesting. That, yeah, you're starting to realize, like, even Sora's kind of like, well, why wouldn't these guys remember me? And then they bring up the idea that, like, well, Leon said at one point that, even if we're separated, you can never truly forget your friends. And it's that callback to Kingdom Hearts 1 where it's like, they may not know who Sora is, but in their heart, deep down, somehow they still remember him. It's really odd and just like leaves a lot of questions.
Yeah. I mean, I still don't fully understand if it's just created from Sora's memories, why don't these people remember him? Exactly. Why are these little stories playing out that aren't what Sora actually did when he went to these worlds? I mean, Traverse Town plays it pretty straight. You're basically just finding the clock tower, ringing the bell, and fighting the boss. It's pretty straightforward, and almost exactly what you do in Traverse Town and Kingdom Hearts, just condensed down real tightly. But in the other worlds I will get to, like, the story wildly differs from what's happening. So I don't know what to make of all of that.
It's an interesting one because we do, you fight the same guard armor, Heartless. You talk to Leon and him again really briefly, and I believe Tifa does deliver some information to Sora very briefly, and then he looks at her, and Sora and Donald look at him and are like, who are you talking to? And he turns around and Tifa's gone.
No, it was Aerith. Yeah, Aerith told him to beware his memories.
That they might fool him. That's what it is.
Yeah. And then when he turns around to look at Donald and Goofy and then turns back, she's gone. So I have it in my notes that, like, at least Aerith's figment decided to tell it to him straight. And then I went back and put in parentheses in all caps, just kidding, it's an illusion. I'm like, whoa.
Aerith is screwing with people now. Also, I'm sorry, apologies. I'm pretty sure I said Tifa a minute ago. I meant to say Aerith because I'd said Yuffie and Tifa. That was not correct. But yes, so they wind up going back to Castle Oblivion, and Kyle, who do they meet?
Bruh, one of my favorite characters in the entire Kingdom Hearts series is introduced in this cutscene. It is Axel, the long, red-haired, chakram-wielding, cool, badass guy. He's like, name's Axel. Got it memorized? Oh my god, I love this character. There's so many exclamation points in my notes I don't even know how to describe. Like, I was extremely happy to see Axel in this moment as he decides to test Sora. And then I was very immediately not happy to see him when I realized that he is not an easy boss and he absolutely kicked my ass.
Yeah. He wrecked me 2 or 3 times before I finally beat him. It was so funny because when I saw him, Axel is one of the hooded, you can tell he's wearing like the same hood, so he's probably part of this hooded figure group that we haven't met yet fully. And he's like, his idea is like, I'm going to be testing you guys throughout this thing. And you wind up getting into a fight with him, at which point he pulls out these circular chakram that then burst into flames. And he looks so badass, and it is a hard fight. But when you do wind up beating him, he tells you a lot of the same. When you're here, you really have to lose stuff to be remembering things, and just be aware of that because it's only going to get more difficult. And then he just disappears.
Yeah, they kind of tell him that, if I remember correctly, he tells him that the person who is most important to him is waiting for Sora at the heart of the castle. So that's how he kind of like keeps him to continue going. And Sora's just like, Riku's here?
Which, it's like, is he talking about Riku? We don't know.
I don't know, Mitchell. Do you think Riku could be here?
I think he could be. I think he definitely could. I only say that because if I remember correctly, on the Chain of Memories PlayStation 2 cover that I have, it is definitely Sora and Riku floating in the air on the cover.
Let me double check. Now I have to look at the original who's on there.
I don't remember right offhand.
He is on the cover.
Okay.
He's on.
I thought
not
so.
in the same way as the PlayStation 2 one. He's definitely on the cover of the PlayStation 2 one, but he's also on the cover of the game. So you make a good point. That's a good hint. Kyrie's on the cover too, though.
She is. But I just remember specifically, like, those two were like mirrored images of each other. And so I was like, okay, there's no way they're going to put both of them like that and him not be a part of this somehow. But we haven't got there yet.
That's true.
After that fight, where do we go, Kyle?
After that, you go upstairs and you start to realize that the characters are genuinely forgetting things. Sora, Donald, and Goofy are forgetting. Like, Goofy remembers being in a castle before, but Sora and Donald have no idea what Goofy's talking about. Like, Goofy remembers Hollow Bastion, and the other two don't. They're making it very clear to the player that, like, okay, memories lost, memories gained. This is what's happening here.
Well, then also, to describe Castle Oblivion, basically every time these guys go in back to Castle Oblivion, it's just this one long hallway, very Buckingham Palace style, pure white. There is not anything in this, no windows, everything is white. Floors, tapestries, walls, ceilings, completely white. And so it's very ominous.
Almost vaporwave.
Very, very much so. And right after they start to realize that Goofy's remembering this castle that they don't really remember, Jiminy pops out and starts to be like, well, obviously, like, I've written down everything that we've done. But then Jiminy opens his journal and he's actually missing pages.
My note for this was, dear God, I forgot Jiminy was with us that whole time and is a real character that really talks to us.
He kind of scared me too. I was like, oh shit, Jiminy's here.
Yeah. I was like, oh right, Jiminy Cricket, he's a real person. He's okay, wow.
Yeah, so it's like, not only are these guys realizing that they're not remembering some things, but they don't, like, Jiminy's journal is even being stripped of them. So there's not even like a written account of this stuff. But then the next world, you know, as we move on, you wind up at Olympus Coliseum.
So just a point of order, though, you can choose to go to whatever world you want in whatever order, or almost whatever world you want. They gave you a choice of, I want to say, 5 different worlds to choose from. And we just kind of, we picked an order and just kind of stuck to it so we'd each be at the same flow. Going up to the next room, Axel had given you another set of cards, like the one that created Traverse Town, and it creates a set of worlds. I believe it was Olympus Coliseum, Wonderland, Monstro, Halloween Town, and Agrabah. And that's the order we did it in. Honestly, most of these are weird retellings of the world that was. It's reusing a lot of content, but also shifting it in a weird way that doesn't actually have any meaningful story other than, haha, let's tell a story about memories in this world. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It's kind of was like we just have to introduce these Disney elements again, and then we'll talk about memory, like you said, very briefly in each one in a way. The Olympus Coliseum, you fight Cloud and Hades, and then that's kind of, you know, you win the cup, blah, blah, blah. In the Monstro fight, you go in, talk to Geppetto, you fight the boss, you save Pinocchio, they get out, you leave. I mean, they're very quick. Like, I think in total, it took me, it was about 9 hours of gameplay to get through from the beginning of what we talked about through all 5 of these worlds.
Yeah, I mean, I was taking my time. I needed to grind. I was not having an easy time with it. I think I'd finished everything of this that we did for this first episode in like 11 hours-ish. So,
yeah. Well, I say 9. I think my total clock time was like a little over 10.
Yeah.
But I get what you mean. There's, I mean, there are very vague, very, very small differences between what you do in these worlds in this game versus what you did in Kingdom Hearts 1. I mean, we could talk about some of the differences briefly, I think.
No, it's not even worth it. Like these are filler stories. They all feel like filler stories. The story of this game is everything that's happening on the outside. I don't even think we're really going to get into the details of each of the individual worlds. The one detail that I really want to harp on is in Wonderland.
Okay, jump in.
There is a fight where you go up against a bunch of the card soldiers, the Queen's card soldiers. So, okay, before I even get into that, one of the mechanics in this is that when you're defeating Heartless, and every time that you defeat a boss, you can, for random Heartless, there's a chance of it happening, and for bosses, it's guaranteed, you get a special Heartless card.
Yes. Which
can also go into your deck. And it lets you activate certain abilities. Like there's one that makes your attacks hit wider or something, right?
Yeah, there's one. I think one of the first two that you get, one of them is your attack cards are worth of one value higher, and your reach on attack cards is slightly longer.
Yeah. So, somewhat useful effects. Nothing too crazy here. But one of the things that really stood out to me is that you do the card soldier fight, and Sora just picks up one of the card soldiers and puts it in his pocket.
He does. They don't even change the shape. He just picks up a card soldier.
It's like, that's weird. It's just like, it's like, oh, I have a card soldier. Oh, okay. Well, you do you, Sora. Okay.
But it's kind of a funny little Easter egg of like, oh, I guess it would be kind of stupid if you turned a card into a card.
Yeah, I don't know. That one just stood out to me. Everything else about this, though, it you could tell it was filler content, just like a bad arc of Naruto.
I mean, yeah, because the big bits that I remember were obviously, like you said, the middle things that happened in between. So specifically after the Olympus Coliseum, the guys go back to Castle Oblivion and start to realize that their memories are being stripped away. Like they know that they're starting to not be able to remember parts of their last adventure and parts about like people that they know. And so that's starting to freak them out a bit. And even like Donald, I find out especially is starting to hit him really hard. Goofy's kind of keeping them all together per usual.
No matter what happens, you won't forget your friends.
Goofy, the OG, man. I'm telling you, he's the only thing keeping this game alive. And then after Monstro, Sora starts to randomly remember a young blonde girl who he's like, oh, wait, I just remembered somebody else. And, Donald and Goofy are like, who? And he was like, I don't know. She was this girl that used to hang out with us on our island. And we would be playing, but she would just sit there and draw. And they were like, oh, what's her name? And he's like, I don't remember her name. They contrast that with, then you see this young blonde girl from the beginning who was drawing Castle Oblivion, who is now drawing herself, while Sora and Riku are fighting as kids. So you're like, this girl just implanted a memory in Sora of her being kids with them. Just like, pfft.
Yeah, exactly. I was wondering how much of that you were going to pick up. I wasn't sure if you because like when I was playing this as a kid, because I was a dumb kid, I don't think it fully hit me right away that like, oh, these are false memories that are being implanted by this girl with a notebook. Okay. No, like I don't think I got that as a kid because dumb kid stuff. But like I'm like, oh shoot, okay, they really made it heavy-handed, didn't they?
Well, it's like, so now after that, we know that like the memories are being taken, and over time they're having a harder time remembering things, but there's somebody on the outside who is implanting false memories in them. So it's like, who do you trust kind of thing? Yeah, it's pretty wild. I was like, ooh, we're getting a little, this is getting a little spooky.
To gain is to lose, and to lose is to gain. So as they're gaining new memories, they're losing old ones. And as they're gaining powers, they're losing old. Yeah.
I will also say in Halloween Town, outside of Jack constantly scaring Donald, which I love.
Yeah. Yep.
They have a small bit. The professor makes a potion that's supposed to unlock true memories. And which is basically like the memories that these guys are realizing are like the deepest, most like subconscious memories that like are so hard to find, but are also so hard to lose because it's hard to get to them. And it was showing how true memories react for different people. Specifically because you go to fight Oogie Boogie and he drinks this potion and immediately starts panicking. And they bring up that like, oh, maybe some people aren't looking for their true memories, but when they come out, it's not good. And so it's like, oh, damn, is that going to happen to our guys? If they go too far down this rabbit hole? That was one moment I was like, that actually is that's like a good thing to remember.
Yeah, they confront you with it again somewhat soon after. They touch on ideas in each of the different worlds, but it's only like a light touch. Like you could take one sentence said by a character in each of the worlds and say, that's the key bit here. Don't need to remember anything else.
It was a lot of add-in, for sure.
Yeah. So beyond the things with this girl, there's also, you're seeing a different blonde-haired girl, much older, though, another member of the hooded figures, Larxene. And you start to learn that, well, for one thing, you learn that this group is called the Organization. At least that's what we know of them so far. And there seems to be something happening between all these people. Like there's something about taking over the organization that Larxene mentions at one point. There's like it's a lot of interesting things that are happening as it all goes along. I'm intrigued to learn more. It's fun to see these characters that we haven't even been properly introduced to. There's some kind of plot happening between them that has absolutely nothing to do with Sora, and it's very fascinating.
Yeah, there's so many little branches of things going on in this that they've peppered in. I would say not even halfway through the game fully. And so I'm excited. There's a lot of different things I think that are about to come crashing into, I wouldn't say like a climax, but being dumped on our characters very quickly that's going to develop. And so I think it's going to be really cool.
Yeah, and that's actually where we're going to stop. I kind of want to leave it. I chose to leave it on a point of mystery. Like this Larxene character is obviously plotting something. There's this mystery girl seemingly planting memories in Sora's brain. And honestly, at this point, Sora, Donald, and Goofy have said that they're looking forward to forgetting old memories so that these deeper memories, these true memories can resurface, not realizing that they're completely fake and that they're getting screwed with.
Which is, it's like we noticed that, obviously, but like whenever they brought up, they were like, oh, maybe it'd be good if we lost some memories and picked up the other ones. Then you start to realize what's happening. You're like, oh no, we don't want that to happen. No, we should not be doing that. And yeah, I'm so excited to see what happens with this Larxene character, especially because in the cutscene, she's actually talking with Axel, and she's like, well, it's my turn to test him, and Axel's like, don't break him. So it's like, ooh, it seems like these two have some kind of joined goal, but maybe not completely eye to eye, which I think is really interesting as well.
Yeah. So where I want to leave it is a question, because I have played this game and I also played a little farther ahead than you did so we could pick a good stopping point. I want to leave you with a question, though. Who do you think the girl with the notebook is?
I would have to think some member of the organization, but maybe somebody who left it and is hiding out, but is still powerful enough to affect it in some way. I don't know. I'm kind of on the fence because obviously she's able to control memory and she has the kind of some of the same touches some of these organization members have, but she's doing it solo, but she's also doing it very off the radar. So I'm assuming she doesn't want the organization to know what she is doing anymore. So I'm going to say that. I'm going to say an ex-organization member who is trying to maybe help Sora in some way, because it seems like the other people don't maybe have his best interests. in heart. So yeah, I think Sora's maybe getting tugged from two different directions by two different factions in this organization.
That's so interesting. I can't wait to dig a little deeper. I'm now very excited for our next episode.
Yeah, me too. Very much so. Well, good deal. Well, guys, that is it for this episode. The next episode, we will be diving into, more of Kingdom Hearts Chain of Memories. I think we talked about this one. This is definitely going to be a shorter amount of episodes for this game than the previous for Kingdom Hearts 1. I think we had said we're probably going to do about 4 or 5 for this game.
Yeah, that sounds about right. There's going to come a very good stopping point, and you will know the very good stopping point when we arrive at it.
I had a feeling. Okay, well, cool. But yeah, well, again, as always, everyone, thank you so much for listening. We love playing this game with each other, and we love that you're joining us. And Kyle, thanks again, dude. This is always fun.
Absolutely. Even when the game isn't perfect, we still have a good time with it, and it's still very great to be able to talk to you, man.
Absolutely. Well, until next time.
See ya.
Hey there, Kingdom Hearts fans. Thanks for listening to the episode. Dream Drop Long Distance is hosted by Mitchell Orsino and Kyle Bradshaw, and is produced by Kyle Bradshaw. Our theme music was written and recorded by Alex McLean.